Okay, good morning, everybody. We were looking into steps to start an small scale industry. Okay, this is very important if you look into the previous question papers. Many times, this particular question has been asked: what are the steps involved in starting an micro and small enterprise or SSI, small scale industries? So, just we will preview the all the 13 steps before we start with the finance. Okay. First one is the in order to start a small and micro enterprise or the small scale industry. First is the decision to be self-employed. Entrepreneur has to make a decision to be self-employed, means working for himself. Then he has to make the SWOT analysis of himself. What are his strengths, weakness, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats. And based on the SWOT analysis, he can take up the different kinds of ideas. Okay, so which suits his strength. Okay, which can be able to exploit the opportunities that are available. He can select according to the SWOT analysis. Then scanning of the business environment. Scanning of the business environment is essential because we need to understand the environment, what are the opportunities that are available, and whether the entrepreneur, his idea or his idea of a product, whether that will suit to that particular business environment. That has to be scanned, means that has to be analyzed. And the best example is in current situation, any idea with a given COVID situation, any idea related to sanitization, related to the safety of human beings, related to the social distancing, that kind of a idea, any kind of a idea in those lines is the uh, which is the demand of the current scenario. So he has to be aware of the business environment, and he should select the products accordingly. Training. And if there are certain weaknesses or the certain areas that entrepreneur can improve, he can go through the trainings. Okay, the trainings are provided by uh, the trainings are provided by different organizations from the government. Okay, they conduct the EDPs, entrepreneurship development programs. We go through that. That will be very beneficial. Then the next important step is the product selection. So out of his idea, many ideas, how he particularly zero on one particular uh, product. So that product selection is very crucial for the success of the organization. Market survey is very important. Once he identifies the product, he has to do the market survey. So he has to collect the data regarding the demand. Okay, regarding the competition. Okay, the market survey will give a good insights about whether that particular market is in need of that particular product which the entrepreneur is planning to come up with. So market survey is very essential whenever any company, for that matter, whenever they are planning to set up a particular operation, they will do the market survey. For example, like the chain markets, like retail markets, like Reliance Refresh and Reliance Smart. All those people, they will do the a survey in particular area whether they should open their outlet or not. So they will do a survey. Based on the survey, they will come up. They will come to know whether that is a good idea to put a outlet, and what size, like how big that outlet should be. The market survey will give the inputs whether it should be a medium scale outlet or the large scale outlet. Then form of organization has to be decided whether it is he wants to have a proprietorship, means it's a sole ownership or a partnership or a limited company, private limited, public limited, those kinds of things he has to decide. Once he does the market survey, once he gets the confidence about the product, then he has to form the organization. Then he has to decide upon the location where the particular enterprise will be located, the area, and what kind of a structure, building structure is required. All those things has to be decided. Then technology, what kind of a technology is required, whether that technology is locally available or whether that technology has to be developed, whether that technology has to be imported. All those things has to be decided. uh, the technology should be decided upon, like what kind of a technology to be implemented in order to fulfill the that he has decided. Then machinery, he has to decide upon the what kind of machinery, what are the specifications required, who are the suppliers, suppliers, guidelines, whatever is mentioned in the guidelines, he has to include all those information. And this project is going to be like a, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, there was an internet disruption. So project report is the most important document, whether he needs it for the evaluation purpose, he needs it a finance purpose. If you want,
Sir, screen is not visible.
okay, all right, one second. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whether it is for the purpose of any kind of a evaluation, or he need financial assistance from the banks and other institution, they will go to the project report. And also for the operation of the organization itself, the project report can work as an operational guide. So it will give a direction how it has to be operating. Then project appraisal. Okay, project report is required for the project appraisal, and for all these kinds of appraisals, the project report is required, and the entrepreneur has to make sure that he goes through all these appraisals, like economical, financial, technical, management, organizational, operational, and market appraisals. So those appraisals will give us a confidence in entrepreneur. He will have confidence in the investors, whoever is investing in that particular organization. That will give a confidence. Next one important is thing is the finance. Finance is the lifeblood of the enterprise. So without finance, no organization can work. And for getting the finance, what kind of idea is being proposed is very, very important, because all the sectors, whoever is investing, whoever is going to finance the entrepreneur, they will check the the success of the particular idea. They will appraise whether that particular idea is successful. If the particular idea is successful, there will be more number of people who will be interested in investing in that particular idea. So there are specified in it. So there are certain steps he has to take. The first step he has to complete one formality is the project report itself, and project report should be based on the guidelines given by the planning commission. That is the most essential thing. So those things he has to take care in before approaching the banks or any financial institution. Many of financial agencies provide a capital assistance and venture capital for starting the entrepreneurs. So there are many agencies, some of all the public banks, all the private banks, cooperative banks, and there are financial institutions like KSFC, central government. KSFC is the central agency, and these agencies who will give the capital and the help him with the raise the required capital for the organization. There are some agencies which provide financial assistance on concession rates. So the concession rates depends on what kind of a idea is there, what sector. So there are, I told you, government every year it reforms its policies and comes up with many concession in particular sectors, where government wants to improve particular sector, or government feels the country is lagging behind in certain sector. So they will provide some kind of a concession rebates in that sector. So based on that, there are certain organizations who will give the capital under that policy. Under PMRY and REGP schemes, financial assistance and subsidies are being provided to the persons who want to set up their own enterprises. So the schemes, and every year it will be keep on changing. There are certain schemes for the women entrepreneurs. There are certain schemes for particular sector, like if you are setting up in the rural area, if you are setting up your enterprise in the rural area. So those are the different policies that will govern what kind of a subsidies can be given. And if you are eligible under those schemes, then you can the agencies will help with providing the subsidies or the rebates. Then provisional registration. Okay, so registration is the most important point. Whenever you start your enterprise, it should be registered. And for registration, there is a certain procedure that needs to be followed. It is always worthwhile to get the unit registered with the government. The entrepreneur has to obtain the prescribed application form for provisional registration from DIC or Directorate of Industries. So, if you want to avail any kind of a subsidies, if you want to take capital from the banks, the first thing is required is the registration. Without registration, no organization will provide you with any kind of help. The registration is the first and the foremost important thing once entrepreneur is ready to start his enterprise. And there are the organization which will help with the registration. One of them is the DIC. I told you, District Industry Center. And for that matter, you can approach the DIC. If you have any kind of idea, just approach the DIC. DIC forms as an interface. Whatever you need, whether it is a registration, whether it is a financial assistance, whether you require the land, okay, they interface with all these different organizations. DIC interact with the KSFC for the finance. DIC interacts with the KIDB if you have the requirement for the land. Okay, KIDB is the one which develops the industrial lands. Okay, then with help of the DIC, they can provide you the whatever the requirement of the land. So in short, for all the needs of the entrepreneur, he can approach the DIC. DIC may not help, like DIC will not finance, but DIC will help you in getting connected with the organization which help you in the financing or the raising the capital. So DIC is like a form of a single window approach. So you can just approach the DIC for all your needs and you will get the answers for all your questions. After having duly filled in application form, he has to submit the application with all the relevant documents in the local DIC or the Directorate of Industries. So the application procedure will be there. It is very similar to any like you taking the admission in engineering college, right? There will be required document. Similarly, when you are registering the enterprise, there are certain requirements that needs to be fulfilled. So DIC will give all those information and all that application form can be submitted with the DIC for the registration purposes. This will enable the entrepreneur to avail various government facilities, incentives, and assistance schemes, including the financial assistance from NSIC, SFCs, and KVIC. So, the registration is the first point. Okay, and once you are done with the registration, then only you can avail all the government facilities, incentives, schemes, and any financial assistance you require. So registration is the foremost thing. Technical know-how. In some cases, technical know-how may be arranged for setting up the enterprise. Suppose if you are if you need a help with the technical know-how or what is the technology that needs to be used, you have the idea, okay, certain idea, and but you don't know how what is the technology that can be used to make that particular idea implemented. So the technical know-how is also arranged by the different government agencies. Okay, the technical know-how, this can be arranged through the TCOs, NSIC, SSIDC, DIC, private consultants, SI, ED institutes, foreign collaborators, India Investment Center, and other industries. Okay, so there are many organizations which will help with a technical know-how for a easier approach. Whatever the requirement is there, they can approach the DIC. DIC will form as a single window which will connect you with a right kind of a people who can help with a technical know-how. So you can approach the private industries, okay, consultants, whoever has that technology. Facilities are also available to SSI for making technical know-how arrangements, including turnkey jobs. So the facilities are available where they will help the entrepreneur to understand the technology. They this is also they include it as a part of the EDPs. Suppose they are starting any kind of a uh, uh, enterprises in the FMCG. Okay, yeah, FMCG is fast moving consumer goods. If they want to have more entrepreneurs in that particular area, the different agencies of the government, state government, and the central government, they conduct EDP programs in the FMCG sector. They can conduct the EDPs in the textile, where they will talk about the technical know-how also. Power and water connection. So this is like whatever is the power requirement and whatever is the water requirement, because some enterprises or industries are they require a lot of power, and some enterprises they will require a lot of water. So you have to the entrepreneur has to make sure that required power is available. Nowadays, since many states they are generating surplus power, power may not be a big issue or a constraint in starting a SSI, but water might become a concern, because it depends on the, because some industries they require lot of water. Okay, in that case you have to make sure that proper you have the estimate of water requirement and the power requirement, and you have the permission taken from the respective agencies which provide the power and the water. The sites where the enterprise will be located should either have adequate power connections or this should be arranged, right? Either you have to check with the agencies which provide the power like HESCOM, or you should have your own arrangement like a DG set, right? You generate your own power. For example, sugar factories, many of the sugar factories, they do the cogeneration. What is a cogeneration is, once they produce the bagasse, means after extracting the juice from the sugar cane, whatever is left, it is dried, that is called as a bagasse. They use that bagasse to make the power. So they burn that and they run their own generators. That is how they produce the power. That is called a cogeneration. Some portion of their requirement of the power is catered by those cogeneration, which is at the same location. So similarly, you have to think about, if most of the small scale industries, the power requirement is not very huge, so it should be able to be supplied from the agencies like HESCOM. Entrepreneur can calculate the total power requirement and determine the nearest pole from which power will be given to the enterprise, as it can materially affect the installation cost. Okay, so uh, how you get the power, okay, from the nearest pole, and how far is the nearest pole. So all those things will decide upon what is the installation cost. Installation cost in order to get the power from particular pole, so whichever is the nearest pole. Similarly, water connection will have to be obtained, or provision should be made for adequate water supply to the firm. So either from the water board you get a permission to supply whatever your requirement of the water, or you have to make some kind of arrangements, okay, having a borewell or other sources where you make sure that whatever the water requirement is fulfilled for the enterprise. Installation of machinery, this is the most important thing. Once you have the machinery from the suppliers, you have to make sure those machines are installed. Okay, for installation of the machinery. Whoever is the supplier, most of the suppliers, they will help with the installation. So if the machinery is very huge, so there will be a lot of civil work there, a good foundation has to be provided in order to install those machinery. So it is a combination of a civil mechanical work to install the machineries. Having completed the above formalities, the next step is to procure the machinery for installation. Machinery should be preferably installed as per the plan layout. So whenever, so if you see the steps, somewhere around step 10 or 11, the entrepreneur has to think about the machinery and the equipment. Once he has the machinery and the equipment, proper layout should be put. So in the where the location, the enterprise is, wherever it is going to be located, proper layout has to be put where the machinery will go in that particular property. So that has to be pre-decided, and installation of the machinery has to be done according to that particular planned layout. Recruitment of manpower. Once the machines are installed, the need for manpower arises to run them. So the quantum and type of manpower is to be decided. Once you have the machinery, to work on those machinery, we need the human resources, and what kind of a human resources are required, means their skill set, as well as how many are required, has to be decided, so that the recruitment can be done according to that number and the skill set. This requires the skilled, unskilled, semi-skilled labor, administrative staff. So your particular enterprise might require a skilled as well as unskilled. There are certain jobs which doesn't need any kind of a skill, and there are certain job which will require a high level of skill, and some require a semi skilled level is fine. And also you will have the no matter what kind of enterprise you have, you need to have a administrative staff, means maintaining the all the files, maintaining the contacts, taking the calls. Okay, all the administrative work has to be taken care by the administrative staff. Further sources of getting desired labor and staff members to be indented and recruited. Possibly the labor force has to be trained either at the entrepreneur's premises or in a training establishment. So first, the all the sources where the human resources are available has to be found out, and once you have all the sources, you have to recruit. And if there is a requirement for any kind of a training, the recruited staff should be given a training at either at the plant, in plant, or there can be a training that can be set up at some other site. Procurement of raw materials. Now you have all the machinery installed, you have the human resources to work upon those, then you have to procure the raw materials. Okay. Raw materials are the important ingredients for running an enterprise. So without raw materials, basically we cannot do anything. The ultimate job is to convert that raw material into the end product. So raw material is very essential. Whoever is supplying the raw materials, what level of supply they can do, all those things has to be decided before. And if there are multiple suppliers of the raw materials, you have to make a cost comparison, quality comparison, and you have to finalize on one supplier, or maybe set of suppliers, and you should be ready with all that particular information to place the order. The labor will require raw materials to work upon the installed machinery. These materials may be procured indigenously or may have to be imported by the entrepreneur. Okay, so the labor will require the raw materials to work upon, and those raw materials could be available locally or indigenously inside the India, or some of the raw materials has to be imported. So all those things has to be done. Entrepreneur has to identify the cheap and assured source of supply of raw materials for running his own enterprise. Government agencies can assist in case the raw materials are scarce or imported. So entrepreneur has to make sure that he has the all the suppliers, and he has to find out who is cheaper, whose prices are competitive, and also he has to check the what kind of a quality of those raw materials, and he has to make sure that those are the sources which are continuously that will be able to supply them. He has to check all the aspects, and certain raw materials are scarce or needs to be imported, then the government agencies will help in doing that. Next one is the production. Once you have the machineries, human resources, raw material, next part is the production. Production is nothing but converting the process of converting the raw material into finished products. The unit established should have an organizational setup to operate optimally. The organization should employ its manpower, machinery, and methods effectively. So, the effective use of all the resources, human resources, and the raw material should be done so that the production is more optimum. There should not be any wastage of a manpower, machinery, and materials. So whatever the machinery we have, whatever the materials we should have, there should not be a waste. Waste is nothing but a which is not a useful act, right? If manpower is used in a non-productive work, then it's a wastage of the manpower. If machinery is sitting idle, okay, then it's a wastage of that particular machine. Materials which are not used or materials of not a good quality, it all results in a wastage. In this case, for example, the optimal use of the all these resources is like let us say this machinery are good enough to run for continuously 24 hours it can run. Then what normally what they will do in order to increase the production, they will have shifts. The manpower will work for 8 to 10 hours, so there will be three shifts that will be working continuously. So you will be using machineries optimally. So this machinery can run for 24 hours. You are making sure that it is running 24 hours. Manpower can work for 8 to 10 hours. So you have three shifts that is working on those machineries. So that is how you can make the optimal use of all the resources. If items are exported, then the product and its packaging must be attractive. Production of the proposed item should be taken in two stages. So if you are exporting or for that matter, even if you are selling locally, always the packing must be attractive. Means uh, uh, the first impression is the packaging. Whenever people are buying a product, the first impression is given by the what kind of a packaging. A very good packaging will create a very good impact on the consumer. So that is how we can make the packaging attractive so that the product will be more sellable. And production of the proposed item should be taken up in two stages. One is a trial production, then second one is the commercial production. Trial production, what is a trial production is it is kind of a mocking. So in case of a IT industry, what we do is it is a type of a trial production is like a building a prototype. We don't actually build all the softwares, we build the prototype. Okay, how the particular product will look like, software product will look like, we build a prototype and show it to the business client. When business client they see the product, they will get an idea how the end result will be. So and if there are any changes, they will give the feedback. Those feedback can be taken. Then the commercial production is like a real development of the application. Trial production will help tackling the problems confronted in the production and test marketing of the product. So this will trial production is like it is a mock runs where you will come to know about the different problems that are in the production, and those different production will be handled appropriately. And this trial production is also extended to the marketing of the product. Okay, so there is a you can say like a trial marketing. This will reduce the chances of loss in the eventuality of the mistakes in project conception. So if there are any kinds of mistakes or any kinds of loopholes in the production process, the trial production will bring out all those things, and uh, the potential future losses can be reduced when we have the a successful trial production. Once we have the a successful trial production, then the entrepreneur can go for the commercial production. Commercial production is nothing but these products are going to hit the market. Commercial production should be commenced after the test marketing of the product. So there should be a successful trial production, and there should be a successful test marketing of the product. After those two stages, the commercial production can start. Marketing, similar to the production, marketing should also go in two phases, trial or the test stage, and the second one is the commercial stage. And marketing is a very very important process for starting in small scale industry. Okay, the reason being, if you are not able to sell the product, marketing is the one which will brings in lot of channels for making the sales. So it will build a brand in the market for these particular products. When good channels are created, the possibility of sales is very very high. Marketing is the most important activity as far as the entrepreneurial development is concerned. Various aspects like how to reach the customer, distribution channels, commission structure, pricing, advertising, publicity, etc., have to be decided by the entrepreneur. So all these things are very 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 important. How your distribution channels will be, what is the commission structure, how you are going to price your items, how you are going to advertise in, how much you will invest in the advertisement, what market segments you will use for the advertisement. All those things have to be decided. Like production, marketing should also be attempted cautiously, that is in two stages, namely test stage and commercial marketing stage. In case of a test marketing, necessary to save the enterprise from going into disrepute in case the product launched is not well accepted by the customer. So initial test marketing will give some insight about the product. If it is not well received, then the analysis can be done, and there are certain changes that can be incorporated in the product to make it acceptable by the customer. It will also assist the entrepreneur in carrying out the modification or additions in design and features of the product. Having successfully test marketed the product, commercial marketing can be undertaken. So once the test marketing, if the test market results are very good and encouraging, very encouraging, then commercial marketing will be can be undertaken. The entrepreneur can contact the small industries marketing corporation if they need any assistance. Quality assurance is very very important. Whatever the product are being created, there should be a quality checking process inside the enterprise, making sure that the product meet the required quality. Okay, and also in order to have more credibility, there are certain certification agencies are there. For example, in case of a food related thing, we have agmark. Okay, similarly you must have heard about isi. Okay, those are the different certification that entrepreneur can get, which will readily give assurance to the customer that this product passes this kind of a certification, so it comes up with a good quality. Then permanent registration. After small scale unit goes into production and marketing, it becomes eligible to get the permanent registration based on the It's provisional registration from DIC. So first you will do a provisional registration, and once the operation starts, once the operation starts, then it can go for a permanent registration. Market research. Once the product or the service is introduced in the market, there is a strong need for a continuous market research to assess needs and areas of a modification, upgradation, and growth. So once the product is launched, there should be a continuous market research so that you can bring in the modifications, changes, upgrades in that particular products, which will keep the enterprise always on top, so that whatever the changes that is required by the customers, that can be brought into the those particular product. Market becomes Waterloo for most SSI entrepreneurs. They ignore the vital day-to-day operations. So if you don't understand the market, if you keep on producing the same products, over a period, that product will not have any requirement from the customers, and that will cause a serious problem for the enterprises. Initial success should not lure the entrepreneur into a sense of complacency. Means whenever there is an initial success, that success has, in order to maintain that success, there should be a continuous market research. What's the market requirement? Because the market requirement keeps on changing, and the entrepreneur has to get that particular information and bring those changes inside the product. So these are the things, areas, and what are the state level agencies, national level agencies that can help with. For example, the different things we talked about: project selection, registration, okay, finance. These are the agencies, state and central. If you see DIC, it is everywhere. So if you see, for example, DIC is in project selection, DIC is in registration. Okay, then DIC finance. They don't finance directly, but they interact with other financing agencies. Technical DIC is there. Okay, so here training DIC. So to simplify everything, we will understand about the different institution. But if you have an idea, then you can directly approach the DIC. They will have all the answers for you, starting from project selection, marketing, getting raw materials, knowing the technology, all the information they will be having. So government policy and industrial policy resolution, IPR. After attaining independence in 1947, India adopted economic planning as a method to achieve economic development. Okay, so this is the industrial policy that India came up with. There are different IPRs that are introduced. One after the immediately independence, first industrial policy resolution was 1948, then it was 1956, then 1977, 1980, and 1990. Those are the different they targeted like a different strategy they used for these different resolutions. Those resolutions we will talk about in the next class.